Governor Cuomo said today reopening our economy is a science and we must get it right. Of course, the big question is, when will everything reopen? And leading the charge on that effort in Western New York is Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. She joins us now live on 7 Eyewitness News. Good to see you, Lieutenant Governor. Of course, we are expecting word from the administration about what the future of school is going to look like by the end of the week. What conversations are being had right now to help inform that decision and come up with a plan for schools?
Well, the governor wanted to make sure that we knew exactly up-to-the-minute information on how the cases are trending. Have cases throughout the state plateaued? Are they still going up in some areas? Are they declining? So we've been waiting and reserving judgment on schools during this time, but also trying to figure out how schools would handle an influx of children coming back and what protocols would have to be in place. So this has been going on for a long time, knowing that this was going to be a question that had to be answered eventually. And we are within a day or two of having that answer from the governor. I know there's a lot of anxious parents, and I am still in awe of all the parents who've been trying to either work from home and manage their children, learning their own, making sure that they don't lose any time in their education, and the teachers who've had to overcome such extraordinary odds. And soon we'll have some answers, though.
Also involved in that whole reopening effort is the talk of elective surgeries. I know counties have to meet certain thresholds for elective surgeries to take place. We know Erie County is not there yet. We got some discouraging numbers yesterday. But are you worried that healthcare systems will send Erie County patients to hospitals in Niagara County or other neighboring counties that have met that threshold?
Well, we are closely watching this situation as well. And, it was that uptick in cases. And the governor has always wanted us to be very prepared in the event that the hospitals need to have a higher than expected number of patients come in, particularly COVID patients who more often than not end up in ICUs and need additional equipment. So it's something we're watching. We want to make sure that that does not end up being the case. But we anticipate that Erie County will be open before too long, and they'll be able to handle all the elective surgeries as well. I'm in constant communication with the hospital leaders to find out what their capacity is, how it's changing, as well as with the county executive in Erie to keep an eye on those numbers and what the trends look like.
What about summer festivals, events? We've heard that the state fair is unlikely. Erie County Fair, people look forward to that. Of course, the Canal Side Concert Series. What's your expectation for this summer and those kinds of events?
It's going to be tough. Of course, it's just approaching May, so we're still a few months off from some of those, so we don't want to give a final determination. Again, depending on what New Yorkers do, we can see a downward trend in numbers radically, or it can start spiking up if people start ignoring and getting complacent and don't follow the rules anymore. Those are the things that we just don't know at this time to know what's going to happen by the time the Erie County Fair would roll around. But as a general rule, if everything stays about what it is, we are not going to do anything to encourage people from outside an area to come. You may have counties where the numbers are quite low, but if you have an invitation for everybody to come to a county fair or a concert or all the things we love about summertime, it could really change what's happening in that particular county. We don't want to see that happen. So it's as scientific as we can make it, but this virus has been not only deadly, but very unpredictable. The numbers were supposed to be higher. We did everything we were asked to do. The people of New York stepped up. We've kept them down, but it just takes reopening a little bit and people going back to their old ways, and we can see a spike again. And that's what we're trying desperately to prevent.
I've got to touch on unemployment with you. I spoke with you about this about a month ago. We continue to get so many calls from people who are just unable to reach unemployment. Are you able to offer any hope? Is there anything new on that front?
It is definitely improving. It is not perfect. And if you're one of the people that's still waiting, that does not mean a whole lot to you. You're saying, I've made so many calls, I can't do it anymore. Here's what we had to do. We went from 300 people answering phones to 3,100 people. We redesigned our system. We've narrowed down the number of questions. We have done everything humanly possible to make this better. But the system basically crashed because we had over 10,000 calls at a time frame we normally have 50,000. So that is hard for everyone to accept, and I understand the anguish and the anxiety that's accompanying this, and we are making great progress. We've actually allocated over $3.1 billion thus far to about 1.5 million New Yorkers. We still have a backlog, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that many people did not have the proper information when they started placing the call or going online. They would get to a certain point, they would ask for the federal identification number from the employer, not have that, and then the system kicked them out and they'd have to start all over again. I mean, that's maddening, but the most important thing people can do is make sure that their employer has given them every bit of information, the name, the address, the employer ID information, and then to try again. And it should be better because we have a lot more people. Again, we had started a system 1.5 years ago to redo this whole system before there was a pandemic. We were on the path to bring this system into the 21st century, and clearly what happened was not satisfactory to anyone, including myself.
Before I let you go, Lieutenant Governor, I do want to touch on something lighthearted here. I know you've been very busy, but you have been making time to connect with your son and his adorable kitten. I think we've got a FaceTime screenshot that I want to bring up if I can. Tell us what's going on in this photo.
Well, my son and new daughter-in-law ended up being quarantined since March 1st, and she had been exposed in a workplace meeting. So they got a kitten, and this wonderful kitten has actually grown from a little tiny kitten to almost a full-size cat just in the time that we've been separated. But it gives me a little bit of a mental health break. I get a chance to see the kitten in action, and for me, it's just a nice diversion, and I miss my family, but also my new grandkitty.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. We look forward to speaking with you again on this effort to reopen.